Student, today we discuss about colloidal solutions. Colloidal solution mean it is a heterogeneous mixture and in which particle size having between 10 to the power minus 7 to 10 to the power minus 4 centimeter and they are dispersed in a continuous dispersion medium. So, a colloidal solution is a heterogeneous mixture in which particles having size between 10 to the power minus 7 to 10 to the power minus 4 centimeter are dispersed in a continuous dispersion medium. And the continuous medium in a colloid is called the dispersion medium. And the particles form the dispersed phase. I'm saying once again, the continuous medium in a colloid is called dispersion medium. Okay, and the particles formed are called dispersed phase. The particles of the dispersion phase are commonly called as colloidal particles. Okay, for true solution, we called solute and solvent. Okay, and for colloidal solution, for true solution, which substance we called solvent, here this is called dispersion medium. Okay, and in a true solution, the particles that present in the solvent, they are called solutes. Here this is called dispersion phase or colloidal particles. Clear? The size of the colloidal particles are not visible to the naked eye. And colloidal solution are also referred to as sols. If the dispersion medium is water, they are called hydrosols. Okay, and if the dispersion medium is alcohol, they are called alkosol. Clear? Now student, we classify the colloids. Okay, so depending upon the physical state of the dispersed phase and dispersion medium, colloids can be classified into various types, such as when dispersed phase is gas and dispersion medium is liquid, we called their foam. For example, soap leather, fire extinguisher foam. Okay. When dispersed phase is gas and dispersion medium is solid, we call it also foam. For example, foam, rubber, pumice stone. Okay. When dispersed phase is liquid and dispersion medium is gas, they are commonly called aerosol. Okay. For example, fog, liquid sprays, mist, they are called alcosols. Okay, when dispersed phase is liquid and dispersion medium also liquid, they are called emulsion. Okay, such as hair cream, milk. Okay, if dispersed phase is liquid and dispersion medium is solid, they are commonly called gel, such as jam, jelly, butter. Okay, when solid dispersed phase is solid and dispersion medium is gas, they are commonly called solid aerosol. For example, smoke, dust. Okay, they are solid aerosols. When dispersed phase is solid and dispersion medium liquid, they are called sol, such as paints, gold, salt, sail fruits, toothpaste, milk of magnesia, mud. These all are the sols. Okay. When dispersed phase is solid and dispersion medium is liquid, they are commonly called solid sol. Okay. For example, precious stones, pigmented plastics, colored glasses, they all are solid sol. Clear? But colloids can be also classified on the basis of the attraction or affinity of dispersed phase and the dispersion medium for each other. So on the basis of colloids have been classified on lyophilic and lyophobic colloids. So lyophilic colloids, these are the solvent or dispersion medium loving colloids. They directly pass into colloidal state when brought in contact with a solvent. So lyophilic colloids are those colloids in which solvent, that means here for colloidal solution we called it is a dispersion medium loving colloids. So they directly pass into colloidal state when brought in contact with the solvent. Okay, such as gelatin, starch, they are water loving or hydrophilic colloids. When gelatin, starch, they come in contact with water, we can form a colloidal solution very quickly. Okay, so they are hydrophilic colloids because here their dispersion medium is water. So when we know that when dispersion medium is water, we call these are hydrosols. So here gelatin and starch are dissolved into water, so they are called hydrophilic colloids. Clear? And hydrophobic colloids, these are solvent hating colloids. They do not easily pass into colloidal state when brought in contact with the solvent. So lyophobic, that means it has a phobia with the dispersion medium. So these solvent hating colloids, they do not easily pass into the colloidal state when they brought in contact with the solvent. For example, metals, they are hydroxides, sulfides are water hating colloids. That means when they mix with water or any other dispersion medium, they do not mix very well quickly. Okay, so they are called hydrophobic colloids. They have a phobia with a dispersion medium. But for lyophilic colloids, they are dispersion medium loving. Okay, they want to make a colloids. Okay, student. So there are so many characteristics, special type of properties for colloids, such as they are heterogeneous in nature. Colloid salts are heterogeneous in nature and the colloidal particles are not visible to the naked eye. They can only be seen under ultra microscope. Okay, their particle size 10 to the power minus 4 to 10 to the power minus 7 centimeter. They are not stable. Okay, and their colloidal particles tend to come together and settle down at the bottom of the container. They can, however, be stabilized by the adding some suitable stabilizers. Okay, so colloidal solutions or colloids are not stable. For stabling, we have to add some stabilizer. Okay, suitable stabilizer. Colloidal particles are very small enough and to pass through the pores of the filter paper. Therefore, the colloidal particles cannot be separated by filtration process. Okay. Brownian movement. Student, Brownian movement and Tyndall effect. These are the very important properties of the colloidal solution. Okay. What are Brownian movement? When a colloidal solution is examined under an ultramicroscope, the colloidal particles appear as minute point of light in a state of constant rapid zigzag motion. Okay, this zigzag motion by colloidal particles are called Brownian movement because it is discovered by Robert Brown in 1927. That's why this zigzag motion of colloidal particles are called Brownian movement. So colloidal particle, when we examined in an ultra microscope, we show that colloidal particles are appeared in zigzag motion. This zigzag motion or haphazard motion of colloidal particles are called Brownian movement. Clear? Now student, we discuss about most important characteristics of colloids, their Tyndall effect. Clear? When a strong beam of light is focused on a colloidal solution in a dark room, the path of the beam of light becomes visible. Okay? This phenomenon is known as Tyndall effect. Okay? Here we can see a Tyndall effect. Okay? When a strong beam of light, this is a strong beam of light. Okay? Here you can observe student, a light passes through two types of solution here. One is colloidal solution and one is true solution. Okay. In your second figure, that means B, we can show the path of light becomes visible. Okay. And Tyndall effect can also be observed when a fine beam of light enters a room enough through a small hole. This phenomena due to the scattering of light by the particles of dust and smoke in the air. Okay, we can observe Tyndall effect when light enters a dark room through a small hole, and this is very common example, we know very well. This happens due to the scattering of light by the particles of dust and smoke in the air. Okay, so student, Tyndall effect we can observe when a strong beam of light is focused on a colloidal solution in a dark room. The path of the beam of light becomes visible, and this phenomena is known as Tyndall effect. Okay, and Tyndall effect occurs due to the scattering of light by the colloidal particles. Clear? This is the Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect can be observed when sunlight passes through the canopy of a dense forest. In the forest, mist contains teeny droplets of water and which act as particles of colloid dispersed in air. Clear? Okay, student. So these are the special features of colloids. Now, student, we discuss about applications of colloid. In our daily life, colloids may play a very important role in our daily life and industry. Colloids make up some of our modern products such as foods, medicines, paints, electrical precipitate of smoke. Foods, many of our foods are colloidal in nature, such as milk, butter. Okay, medicine, a large number of medicines and pharmaceutical preparations are colloidal in nature. For example, colloidal gold, calcium, and silver are used in the medicines, okay, and ointment. So, colloidal medicines are easily absorbed by our body and therefore are more effective. Okay, okay, student. Students, now we discuss about physical and chemical changes. Okay, a change in which only the physical properties of substance get changed while its chemical composition remains unchanged is called physical change. A change in which only the physical properties of a substance get changed while its chemical composition remain unchanged, it is called a physical change. Okay. So in a physical change, the substances involved do not change in their identity and they can be recovered in a original form. For example, melting of ice, freezing of water, evaporation of water, glowing of electric bulb, preparation of a solution, breaking of glass tumbler, magnetization of iron particles, formation of clouds, stretching of a rubber band. These all are the physical changes. Okay, so physical change in which only the physical properties of a substance get changed, but their chemical composition remain unchanged. Okay, and the special characteristics of this physical changes, in a physical change only the physical properties of the substance are changed. Okay, and in a physical change the substances involved remain their identity, that is their chemical properties remain unchanged. Clear? In a physical changes, no new substances are formed. Okay, and they are temporary changed, and they can be reversed also. Thus the physical changes are reversible, and it means that the original form of the substance can be obtained easily by simple physical methods. In a physical change, it is a temporary change and it can be reversed. Okay, so physical changes are reversible. That means the original form of the substance can be obtained easily by the simple physical methods. Okay, and chemical change, a change in which chemical composition and chemical properties of the reacting substances undergo the permanent change. So, a chemical change is defined as a change in which chemical composition and chemical properties of the reacting substances undergo a permanent change. Okay, so its chemical composition totally changes, chemical properties changes, and it forms a new substances. So it is a permanent change, and as a result of a chemical change the substances involved change their identity, and they are changed into entirely new substances. The new substances thus formed are called the products. Okay, and the properties of the new substances, that means product, and the remaining substances are quite different. It is practically impossible to get back the original substances from the products. Clear? And the substances cannot be recovered or reversed by simple physical or chemical methods. So we do not get back the original substance by any kind of physical or chemical methods. Clear? Burning of a candle, the growth of plants, the hardening of mortar, evolution of gas that occurs when baking powder is moistened, the products of combustion of coal, wood, oil. Okay, the conversion of the food we eat to living tissues is another example of chemical changes. Rusting of iron, these are all the chemical changes. Okay, so in a, in a chemical change, the substances that are permanently changes, that means substances that are present initially disappear, and one or several new substances appear as a reaction proceeds and the reactants disappear. The properties of the products, that is a new substance, are different from those of the reactant, that means original substances. Energy in the form of heat, light or electricity is released or absorbed in the course of the chemical change or during the chemical changes process. Okay, a chemical change cannot be reversed easily. That means a substance undergoing chemical change cannot be regained by the simple methods. For example, curding of milk is a chemical change, and it is not possible to get back milk after it has changed into curd. Okay, burning of a paper, we do not get back the paper once again. Okay, so these are the special features of chemical changes. Now student, we can compare physical change and chemical change according to their properties. Okay, in a physical change only physical properties such as color, physical state, density, volume, etc. changes. but their chemical properties remain unchanged. But in chemical change, the chemical composition and chemical properties undergo a change. Okay? And in physical change, no new substance is formed. But in chemical change, a new substance formed. In physical change, it is a temporary change, but chemical change is a permanent change. Physical change is reversible, but chemical change is irreversible. In physical change, the original form of substance can be regained by simple physical method, but in chemical change, original substance cannot be obtained by simple physical methods. Okay, so these are the very common properties of physical change and chemical change. Now student, your chapter 2 is completed. Now you learn all the differences, definitions, okay, properties and examples also. There are so many definitions, important definitions such as matter, substance, pure substance, element, metals, non-metals, metalloids, compound, mixture, solution, suspension, colloids, true solution, physical change, chemical change. So learn all these topics and revise it again and again, and then write all the definitions, properties, differences in your CW copy. Okay, I am discussing those topics. After revising, write it in your CW copy. Okay, thank you.